Hi, and welcome to Pickin' Games, where we love to complain about multi-billion-dollar companies. If you're watching this video, you likely either hate or love Nintendo, or maybe just wanted to put something on while you eat. As for me personally, it's complicated. Ever since I was young, I've been raised off of Nintendo consoles, from the Wii to the DS, and all the way up to the Nintendo Switch 2. Whenever I went to a friend's house and saw that they had a PlayStation or Xbox or whatever the heck this thing is, I always questioned, why? What's the point of having a console without Mario or Zelda on it? Even though I still feel similarly now that I'm an adult, I find that I can't help but be jealous of the level of quality, support, and content that others seem to get as fans of other video game companies. I also have to admit that Nintendo makes some greedy and just plain questionable choices that constantly make it harder to defend them. As I debut my new YouTube channel, I feel it's only fair to evaluate and explain why my videos focus on Nintendo games and hardware, and to also acknowledge other viewpoints. If you end up liking the video, feel free to subscribe. Come and listen to me yap. Without further ado, let's begin. I hate Nintendo. Everyone looks for something different in a game. Some look for an expansive, sweeping journey with a deep story. Others look for a multiplayer experience with co-op aspects or a community built around it. Others still look for more challenging games that they can eventually grow above and overcome by testing themselves. Whatever you look for, Nintendo strives to make consoles in which you can find your type of game. It's not all Mario platforming and kart racing. Nintendo has great variety, believe it or not. The Metroid series portrays a lone bounty hunter dealing with alien threats with downright horrifying designs. Whenever Samus embarks on spacefaring missions, her and the galaxy's life always hang in the balance. The Pikmin games take place on a smaller scale of task management and exploration. Stakes are high, but the serene nature of the game balances it out. Splatoon is an online competitive shooter similar to Fortnite or Marvel Rivals, but with Nintendo's own style and twist. Playing as squid-based characters, you can play in a variety of games that focus on shooting ink and using specials, resulting in a thoroughly unique gameplay loop. No matter what you're looking to play, you can find it on Nintendo systems. And on the off chance there's a type of game that Nintendo hasn't made, you can find it from another developer in the console's large library of games. I really appreciate the variety of styles that Nintendo has accumulated, and I still have many games I haven't yet played by them. Nintendo has its favorites, in games, in design, and in characters. While they make games and make games well, they rarely innovate. They create new, fun gameplay styles and experiment, but only under the names that they know will sell. Mario, Link, Kirby. Heck, the last time Nintendo stepped remotely out of their comfort zone was with Splatoon, which now has 3 entries in the series and a spin-off game in the works. Their games are often over-reliant on gimmicks rather than genuine creativity. When taking one of their series in a new direction, or heaven forbid, creating a new series entirely, would be much more exciting. I would love to see Nintendo really branch out and try using their various resources to create something fresh and original, apart from the faces we already know. The developers at Nintendo are creative. They have ideas. Let them make something new instead of another Mario Tennis game. While there is something to be said about giving the fans what they want and not messing with what works, the lack of change in games can make Nintendo feel so soulless and businesslike. I don't think that any other company tries to make as many of their games accessible as Nintendo does. They have a deep love for their older games and know that their fans do too. Whether it's a full-on remake or simply a basic port, Nintendo respects their history and where they come from. Few Nintendo games go unplayable forever. Either a port of an older game in a series comes out for both old and new fans, or a whole new game is waiting around the corner. Meanwhile, games like Bloodborne have been stuck on a certain console for 10 years despite being highly requested for a remaster, remake, sequel, anything. Nintendo also tries to respond to outcry for new games, such as Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, and remakes such as Metroid Prime Remastered. You often have the chance on Nintendo consoles to relive a childhood video game or experience a classic game title for the first time. Nintendo only supports and ports the game series that are the most recognizable. They give up too easily on series that don't perform well. Two prime examples being the Star Fox and Kid Icarus series. While these characters are forever immortalized as fighters in Smash Bros., representing Nintendo's legacy, when it comes to games, they have been left in the dirt in lieu of other ideas under safer names. The last Star Fox game came out 9 years ago, and Kid Icarus' last game was 13 years ago. These games have minimal ports, almost zero remasters, and minuscule standing in Nintendo's pantheon of golden children. Okay, so I recorded this video in January, and since then Nintendo has announced a new Star Fox game, Star Fox for the Nintendo Switch 2. But I'd like to think my point still stands because this isn't really a new game. This is another remake of Star Fox 64 where there has been multiple remakes of the game already. It shows that Nintendo acknowledges Star Fox as existing, and it's nice, it's better than nothing, but it still feels slightly lazy. And Kid Icarus is still nowhere left to be seen, of course. I'm personally so relieved that Pikmin 4 sold well, because if it didn't, I think that Nintendo would have taken my plant buddies out behind the barn and composted them. But instead, because the game sold well, they're suddenly one of the core faces of Nintendo? It just feels hypocritical and disappointing that this company is trying to sweep whole game series under the rug and hope that we'll forget about them eventually, even if it is better for business. One of the reasons I have stuck with Nintendo for so many years is because they put out games that are just fun. The work put into them makes it clear that Nintendo has years of video game making experience under their belt. I recently bought Donkey Kong Bonanza, and while at first I was hesitant to buy it because of the price, I ended up thoroughly enjoying the game and having a lot of fun. The graphics were good and the gameplay was extremely enjoyable. It was even a technologically impressive game that allows you to destroy nearly any terrain. Nintendo's extremely consistent in putting out good games each year. These titles often have fantastic character design, pretty decent graphics, fully thought out gameplay, and solid theming on all fronts. Those who work under the Nintendo label are insanely talented and develop games that define whole childhoods, or adulthoods in my case. Nintendo has some of the worst hardware out there. If you're at all familiar with the Nintendo Switch, you'll have heard of the dreaded Joy-Con drift. These $70 controllers will break in a matter of months, despite being one of the Switch's main selling points, causing your game cursor and character to move aimlessly and constantly fight with you. With the Switch 2 now out, I have to hope that in the years to come, the new Joy-Cons don't meet the same fate and then that Nintendo actually tried to fix their hardware for once. The Switch 2 was much needed because the Switch 1 frankly had pitiful performance and hardware compared to its competitors. Even with the Switch 2 now released, it still falls short of other consoles and PCs. I'm not one who thinks that 60 FPS and amazing graphics are needed to have a good game, but they can improve a game. It seems like while other gaming companies are trying to push the quality of their games to the absolute limit, Nintendo just isn't trying to improve. This is made evidently clear when you compare a $60 Switch game like the Luigi's Mansion 2 remaster, I love the game, not the price, to games like Elden Ring, which have almost ridiculously more content and playtime for the same price. This makes you feel swindled by Nintendo, not necessarily because of the price, but because of better games of the same price. The Nintendo Switch has one of the biggest game libraries I've ever seen. You will never run out of games to play on the Switch. Various different studios publish their games on the Switch and have news channels as well, resulting in a lot of publicity from Nintendo. It's probably because some of the best games on Switch are from other studios, whether AAA or indie. Speaking of indie studios, Nintendo has entire presentations just for indie games, the most notable being Indie World. Indie games are an absolute joy to play on the Switch due to its handheld and portable design, which I personally love. Even if the battery life isn't anything to write home about, I'm still able to play all wrapped up cozy in my bed, soaking in a hot bath, and on the road. I think that the Switch is potentially the best way to experience certain games, especially indie titles I love, like Hollow Knight and Spiritfarer. I always love seeing indie showcases, and I often pick up many of the games featured to play in my free time. Nintendo makes games accessible and encourages creativity in gaming. Nintendo is absolutely for welcoming others to their systems, but they give nothing away in return. Their games stay exclusively on their consoles, and their characters too. They'll let Sora from Kingdom Hearts into Smash Bros, but won't let Samus Aran into Fortnite because her character could be seen on other devices. Let's be honest, the main thing that Nintendo has going for it is its exclusive titles. And they know that. It's obviously the right move from a business standpoint to keep their games to themselves, so people will continue to buy their hardware. I mean, look at the new Steam machine coming out in 2026. It will have all Steam games accessible to play on it, including many Xbox and PlayStation games that are available on Steam already, thus lowering the value of those two consoles and companies. Even though it's wise for Nintendo to defend their IPs, they are way too overprotective, to the point of hurting fans and making some shady policies. It's hard to be in a community where you genuinely love something, but fan projects and use of game content is hunted down by the company that makes the games you love. Take one wrong step and Nintendo might sue you into oblivion, or even brick the console you spent $450 on. I love the games I play under the Nintendo label, but it's always disheartening to see a small creator sued for a fan project, or Nintendo trying to claim ownership of basic game mechanics. It comes off as greedy and pathetic. All in all, I really love Nintendo. Their games are filled with magic. They always manage to surprise me with new ideas, and I love the characters with all of my heart. I support Nintendo and buy their games because they transform creative ideas into lighthearted fun, making games for the whole family that are accessible to many, as well as more complex games for deeper and darker storytelling. I may not always agree with what they do, but they make the product I, as a video game enjoyer, want. A game could be one of the most beautiful looking games in the world, but it could still be unenjoyable if it doesn't have soul and hardworking developers behind it. I don't revere Nintendo as better than all other sources, or without fault. Instead, they're just what I prefer over other choices, and that doesn't make my opinion invalid. These games have helped me be creative and happy for years, which is what video games are for in the end. Maybe hate is a strong word, but I must admit that as I wrote the script for this video, Nintendo's flaws and blemishes became much more clear to me. In the end, they are a multi-billion-dollar company that in reality doesn't actually care about me. But that is sadly where a lot of the video game industry is right now. As Nintendo raised their prices, so did the rest of the other companies, a change that's probably been coming for a long time now. Nintendo is greedy, overprotective, and extremely overreactive, but I cannot deny that I love their products. Technically, the things that they are overprotective of are their property, and they are a legitimate business that can do what they want. But that doesn't mean I'll just pretend like this brand is perfect and they have the moral high ground. I hope they can continue to evolve, learn from other examples, and keep in touch with their fun-based identity. Because if they continue down this path of laziness and lawsuits forever, I can see myself taking my money elsewhere. That is why I love and hate Nintendo. I hope that this clarifies things going forward with this channel. I won't focus just on Nintendo games. There will be many others that are dear to my heart that I will focus on. But this channel will always have a core identity which loves Nintendo. I hope that I can make content that is enjoyable for you all to watch. I would absolutely love to hear what you have to say. Tell me in the comments why you hate and or love Nintendo. Did you disagree with anything I said or have something to add? I'd love to see all of your thoughts. Please just keep it respectful and refrain from fighting. This channel is meant to celebrate games and critique where it can. chances are you're watching this video because you love video games, and that means we have something in common. Anyways, I guess the moral of the story is, it's okay to like Nintendo, but you should buy more indie games. This was an example of a discussion topic video, but be sure to check out some of my other video formats I'm making, such as game challenges and full playthroughs. I'm working on making a new YouTube channel right now, so my audio or my scripts or my editing may not always be perfect, but I hope that you will all stay and give me tips on how to improve. I appreciate you all. Make sure to drink water, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
It's coming to a close, I guess I should know that I'm never gonna see you again in a place that sells vintage clothes. I guess you should know that it hasn't been the easiest years for a band living in the throes. And then I see a smile.